welcome to a brand new episode of Building Ideas. What a show we have for you today. I tell you what, I am so excited to show you the award-winning work from our friends at Urban Habitats, and in particular, this striking home on the leafy streets of Norwood. But before we delve into their incredible creative process, let's see what else is on the show.
In addition to hearing from our friends at Urban Habitats, Terry checks in with the Metropolitan Fire Service and is reminded about the importance of fire safety around the home.
It's working. Yeah, that's it?
That's it.
I visit local organisation Point Data to find out how they are using data to change the way we value property. And we check back in with our friends at House Inspect Australia. Oh, it's quite the show.
All right, let's get into it. Not a minute to waste. Now, I've got to say, standing here, I'm just taken with the awesome design of this place, like the use of lines and ultimately the very cool street presence.
Set on an oblique block, this project actually consisted of the design and development of not one, but two dwellings, each home uniquely designed whilst also complementing each other and the streetscape. The Urban Habitats team were also sensitive to the surrounding flora throughout the whole process, ensuring to maintain a green outlook from the living area of our feature home. Unique in its design and construction, this two-storey abode showcases modern functionality and unparalleled attention to detail.
In Adelaide, we are blessed. There's parks, nature and wildlife everywhere we turn, which makes fire safety a pretty important topic. Now, when thinking about fire safety while building or renovating your home or small business, you'd think that chatting to your builder or architect is a good place to start, and it is. But the best place? It's actually the MFS. Ryan, how important is it to think about fire safety when building or renovating your home?
Well, I'd have to say that it's probably the most important thing to think about. You assume that you're building a place or renovating to make it more comfortable for you and your family. Well, surely their safety and your own safety should be the priority there. So absolutely, it's the most important thing to think about.
When's a good time to start thinking about it? In the design stage, when you're building, when?
At the earliest opportunity, you want to be thinking about that. Thinking about making sure that you've got the minimum requirement of smoke alarms, and then also what we recommend is even higher level again. So getting that organised at the earliest opportunity.
Right, so what is the minimum amount of smoke alarms you should have? And how does that work?
Well, it's a good question. It's actually law that you must have smoke alarms, working smoke alarms in your home. They need to be central to the bedrooms in the hallway. So if you have bedrooms at the front of the house and at the back of the house, then you need multiple smoke alarms. But the MFS recommends that you actually have them in your bedrooms as well, and that they're all hardwired and interconnected. That way, regardless of where you are in the home, if one activates, they'll all activate.
Talk to me about the service and maintenance for your smoke alarm.
Well, there's a couple of things that you can do to make sure that your smoke alarms are working effectively and then going to keep you and your family safe. So one is every month you want to test that it's actually working. So that's where you can get a broomstick so everyone can do it and just press the test button. But you need to hold it for about 3 seconds and it will activate. And that's how you know that it's actually working. Then secondly, you want to clean it once every 6 months using the soft bristle head of your vacuum cleaner. Get up there to remove any dust or cobwebs to make sure that it's working at its optimal. And then when we get to daylight savings, where we're putting the clocks back, that's a great time to check your battery and replace it if you need to. And then also know that every unit has a 10-year lifespan, so you actually have to replace that smoke alarm after 10 years. And you just have to push and hold that test button for about 3 seconds, that's it. And you'll know once it's working.
It's working. Yeah, that's it?
That's it.
Right. That's a good sign. Clean and regularly tested smoke alarms that are placed in the right spot around your home can save lives. It is the simple, honest truth. Folks, this is the perfect example of prevention is better than cure. Now, if keeping your loved ones and your home safe from fire is important to you, visit the MFS website. Do it straight away. Me, I'm gonna check the alarms. Block your ears. Oh, I wasn't joking.
Okay, I'm going to have to get Terry to check the smoke alarms at my house too, I think. Now, arriving at such an incredible entrance like this, it really does start back at the design process. I mean, how else are you going to end up with such an incredible architecturally designed home? I'm so blown away by the way the architectural and design team have integrated this home as part of the natural environment. It all just feels so connected. So after the break, we're going to take a closer look.
If you think the world of artificial intelligence, tech companies and startups is only for Silicon Valley, well, think again, because today we're checking out a trailblazing company making big waves in the property world right here in Adelaide. Introducing Point Data, helping businesses and individuals understand the true potential of residential property with world-first data powered by machine learning. So Ben, tell me, what makes Point Data different to other property valuation services?
That's a great question. So we often get asked this, and even though there's similarities in that we do value residential properties, the main point of difference that we have is that we also look at the underlying land value, but we also look at the development potential through our planning algorithms. So we can understand what a property can be subdivided down to, which is really important to understand the true value of your property.
And I guess developers then can benefit in a particular way from that service, can they?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what we do is automate that entire process. So instead of going to a planner, going to a conveyancer, going to a real estate agent to understand what a property is worth, we provide data sets that give them all of those answers instantly.
Wow, and so what types of customers are you working with then?
It's a good question. We've got banks, we've got community housing providers, we've got developers, but we've also got everyone that has any interest in a property. So if you own a property and you want to know what it's worth or what you can do with it, we're the people that can provide that information for you.
It does feel like data and property data can be quite intimidating, but I get the sense you guys are bringing it into making it a bit more accessible for people.
That's true, yeah. Data can be daunting, and it typically is kind of held by the big end of town. And what we're trying to do is make as much sense of that data and provide it to all consumers in a more simplistic and understanding way.
It sounds to me like you're just making things a lot easier for people, like you're removing all of these steps.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're making it accessible, we're making it easier to digest and understand, but also with a really powerful, technical, data-driven background, and indeed artificial intelligence, which is the future.
I just want to give you an idea of the scale of this thing. The system here values over 1.5 million properties every week, ingesting over 1 billion data points. Now, if I was to sit down with a calculator and try to work that all out myself, let's just say we would be here a while. But here you get to let the AI do all the hard work while you can kick back and have a cup of tea. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, visit the Point Data website. I can only imagine the value Point Data would place on this home. I was excited to sit with Sarah, resident architect at Urban Habitats, and hear about her love for this place. Well, Sarah, how nice is this, sitting out here with the creek flowing right next to us?
Yeah.
What a great spot.
It's so beautiful. It was one of the big draw cards of this site is, you know, being able to create this sort of urban house in this oasis with the beautiful greenery around us. So it was really a big selling point of this block.
And then as the designer, how do you constantly factoring in these natural elements and how to weave that into the design process?
Yeah, a big impact of our design we like to consider is the connection with nature. So it's really exciting, you know, being able to use the surrounding environments, lots of windows, lots of glass, letting light into these spaces. So it's a really important factor when we're designing.
And you, in particular, with this block, had a few important considerations with the design right from the start, didn't you?
Yeah, so the tree behind me is really beautiful. It allows this beautiful play of light. The leaves drop in winter, so then you get this beautiful shadow and casting of light. So it was really a really special feature being able to do a two-storey element here, being able to be up in that upper level and almost being sitting into the trees.
It's gorgeous. And so how does it work? How does the design process actually play out when the client comes to you in the first instance?
It really varies. Some clients come with a really specific brief. Some clients come because they like the work we do and they want to see what we can come up with for them. So it's really it can be a two-way stream. Some clients are very, you know, particular in what they want, but we like to challenge that as well. So, you know, whether that's size of house, accommodation type, style.
Do you have any favourite bits with this house?
I love the skylights in the hallway. With this site, we were really tricky because it's got very limited north-facing aspect. So a way to get that winter sunlight into the space was done through those skylights. And I think whilst it creates that function of letting that winter sun in, it also creates this beautiful light space when you walk in the door. And it's really a beautiful feature of the house when you enter.
Every little detail, it's very deliberate. There's nothing happening by accident here.
No, we like to consider everything. I mean, environmental factors like sunlight and heating and cooling are really important factors in design that we like to do naturally. Connections with environment and making you feel like you're in sort of this sanctuary space is also, you know, really important and things that I like to incorporate in my design. The whole process is done by our team and we guide our clients through that process.
And that must make such a big difference, that it's not just like, see ya.
Yeah,
You know?
it is, because we get that relationship throughout the process. Again, we can stand on site with the client and go, you know, this is what we were intending, but we think that this might work a little bit better. So we've got that flexibility and play to be able to make some adjustments on site. Not huge adjustments, but it's nice to be able to make those smaller adjustments if required.
The framework of your home is the basis from which the whole home is built off of. It provides the elevated structural integrity of your home. Good bones, good home. Thing is, it can get kind of messy and often expensive if you've got to get back in there should something go wrong. Thankfully, the team at House Inspect Australia can make sure you measure twice and cut once. Barney, I'm guessing that inspecting the framework of a home is a really important stage of the process.
This is probably the most critical point in our inspections.
Now, when you come out on site, you're quite often working around the trades, like today. And you just work with the team on site, don't you?
We always introduce ourselves when we come on site to any trades on site, so not make them feel uncomfortable. We try to stay out of their way as much as possible and let them know if we do need to go into those areas. Look, I'm under you, or, you know.
Yeah. What are you looking for in the framework?
We're checking load points to make sure all the load points are correct, where they're supposed to be. We're checking our lintels to make sure they're the correct sizes, been specified to plan and to working drawings and engineering. When we walk into a place, our eyes are always darting around. We go home sometimes and our eyes are still darting around at home.
I can imagine. If this was my home, I imagine that I would want this stage of the process to be checked thoroughly, because this is the bones of the home, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. So, you know, with our reports, we take a lot of photos in lots of different areas, very detailed, so then that way there's always something to reference back to.
Can I ask, how messy or expensive can it get if you don't get the framework right and you've got to get back in there to fix it?
can be very costly. Council will ask is like, well, we've picked something up on our report, have you rectified it? Where's your evidence? So that's where our reports, because we do document so much, well, yes, we've got a picture of every lintel, picture of every strap, or brace sheeting, and there's always something that our client or our builder can refer back to, and that can save them a lot of money.
Because you do provide great reporting, don't you?
Definitely, very detailed, can be a bit overwhelming sometimes, but we like to make sure it's very clear, so it's very understandable for our clients, and for the builder and for the relevant trades.
Just makes sense to use you guys.
Definitely.
You know, as I look around this home, I'm reminded just how important the framing stage is. There is so much going on. If this was my place, having the team from House Inspect Australia here checking would be non-negotiable. I would sleep a whole lot better at night. If you're building, or if you're thinking about building, hit them up, visit their website.
It's so cool to hear about how the team at Urban Habitats work together, because it's this really collaborative process between the architects, the designers. But how does that fit into the build? Well, I know just the guy to ask. So Jock, we've just had a walk through this incredible home. You must be pretty proud of this one.
Yeah, thank you. I really am. It's been a collaboration of a whole lot of our team resources to come up with this home, which really speaks for itself. It's such a beautiful space. We're sitting here now in an oasis in the heartland of Norwood. It's a wonderful space to be in.
And help me get to know the Urban Habitats process. Like, how do you guys like to operate when you first meet a client?
Yeah, look, again, it's very approachable for us. I'm a big fan on really getting to know our clients, and that's where the design and build process for us is so important. To be able to get to know our clients right at the beginning, before they've even got any ideas around what their house might look like. So to see how they live, to understand what's important to them, and obviously to see potentially what their architectural style is. So again, it's about getting to know the client, helping them to better understand what we can do. Part of the process for us is very much coming up with exciting, innovative, aspirational designs and homes that they can afford. And so we very quickly bring in our skills and our knowledge of our building background to be able to support our passion and our drive to design something that is unique to our clients and aspirational to the way that they want to live. Some people think they know what they want, but when we actually get into the nitty-gritty of it, they're actually only just touching the surface. The vibe is about understanding or seeing the photos that they might bring to us. We get clients that have portfolios of hundreds of photos, and then we have clients that give us 5. Arguably, the lesser is better, because you start to see a story in those photos, and you can quickly start to feel about where we can take them, and hopefully surprise them with some ideas that they just haven't thought of. And I think if we weren't doing that, if we weren't challenging them on their thought process, we wouldn't be doing our job. With the projects that we take on, we are absolutely committed to them, and we make sure that quality is the driving factor behind everything that we do.
Gosh, Urban Habitats. I don't think I've ever finished filming an episode and felt so calm at the end before. You know, you go upstairs to the upstairs area, it feels like you're hanging out inside a treehouse. It's been such a jam-packed episode, honestly. I feel like I have learnt so much. But there is more. I want to show you what's coming up on next week's episode.
We visit One Rundle Trading to get a decorator's update, and Sarah Construction are our host partner. Plus, we learn about the services on offer from Homestart Finance while checking in at Bowden and with our friends at House Inspect Australia.
Well, that's it for today's show. A huge thank you to all of our contributors. Make sure you jump online and check out their social pages. And while you're there, check out ours too. And we will see you next week.